You are Locked On Sun Devils, your daily podcast on the Arizona State Sun Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right. Day one of practice in the books for the Sun Devils. It was a fun one, and there is all sorts of stuff that we can take away from this game that we can take away from this practice. Some of the younger guys look like they are growing up and standing out. The competitions are fierce across the board. Oh my God, the tight ends are massive. They are massive. And of course, Kenny Dillingham says they want to make last year irrelevant. My name is Richie Bradshaw. I am the host of the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, and I will be your guide for everything Arizona State Sun Devils. I appreciate everyone who is tuning in to this live edition of Locked On Sun Devils. You can find us on YouTube, of course, and turn on notifications to make sure that you get the update when we go live. If you miss it, don't worry. Everything's archived. You can look back at it later, and you can find it wherever you're getting your podcasts, if that's Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, wherever it might be. All right. I promised you guys that I was going to keep you updated on everything that's going on with spring ball. And that's what I'm here to do, is keep you updated with everything that's going on with spring ball without a paywall, because we're free and available on all platforms. You don't have to pay to subscribe to Locked On Sun Devils. Just hit that subscribe button, come say hey, and let's talk some ball. So let's go ahead and talk some ball. Where do we start? Let's go ahead and start nice and simple. Some of these guys are bulking up, and they look good. They look like they are ready to play. Funny enough, one of the guys who's actually slimming down is Terrell Kim, a redshirt freshman guard for the team. I don't know if I heard Kenny right. I thought Kenny said he lost like 40 pounds, which is crazy. But, I mean, you're talking about a guy who already looks like he's ready to be plug and play to the offensive line. He looked like that before he stepped onto campus when he was still in high school. So if he needed to drop weight, then you're all about it, because you know that what they're doing is adding more core strength to him and just getting him in better peak physical condition. So if he's got to drop X amount of pounds to get there, then you love it, because you don't want big offensive linemen who can't move. Like, that was the problem that Mekhi Becton had when he got with the Jets and the pros. And I know we're talking about a first-round pick and an offensive tackle, but you don't want that for your guys. So if Terrell Kim needed to drop the weight, then that was what they needed to do, and it sounds like they did it. Again, I don't know if I heard Kenny right. I thought he said he dropped like 40 pounds, which is crazy. But meanwhile, you had guys that are bulking up. Zachariah Sample looks like he's growing into his body quite a bit. Don't worry, he's still fast. That dude is fast. So he is flying across the field. Whatever he put on, I want to say it was about 10-ish pounds or something like that, Kenny said. He looks fine. He looks just as explosive as he was in high school. And I do think that we're going to see more of him this year, if nothing else, some special teams opportunities for Zachariah Sample. Another guy, this was one of the guys who caught my attention immediately. Like, I saw him pop up on the field, and I was like, I wonder who that is. And I looked at the roster that we're providing, and I'm like, oh my God, I had no idea. Ramar Williams, the redshirt freshman for the team. We did not see him last year. Came out of high school as a defensive lineman. My question I had was, are you going to be an edge rusher, or are you going to be an interior guy? Now, I don't know what his weight is, and I left my roster in my truck so that when I go to practice on Thursday, I'll still have it with me and don't lose it. That's definitely something I should have grabbed, but, you know, hindsight's 2020. Ramar bulked up. I mean, his biceps are bigger than my head. He looks like he could easily take a phone book and rip it in half. You can tell that he has been bulking. You can tell that he has been in the gym. And interestingly enough, he was working with the interior guys. So I wasn't sure if he was going to be working with the edge rushers or the interior guys. And lo and behold, that's where he was with CJ Fight, with Jacob Richcon-Geika. And, I mean, he looked like he fit in. He looked like he fit in. It didn't look like he was completely out of place. So I am excited. about what Ramar can bring for this team. And something I've mentioned on the podcast before is I anticipate this is going to be a year where we could see the younger guys start to make their impact for the roster. Kenny was not as aggressive in the transfer portal as he has been in recent seasons. And we're going to see his previous recruiting classes because this is year 3. This is where you need to start seeing the results. I anticipate we're going to see some of those guys start to see the field. And with the way that they're getting bigger, Ramar Williams could find his way out there. Zachariah Sample could find his way out there. Coach Kenny said that Chris Johnson Jr. is getting a little bigger. Tony Lusenkuba is getting bigger. Rodney Bimage is getting bigger. We got a lot to talk about with Rodney Bimage. Going to go ahead and tease that right now. We have a lot to talk about with Rodney Bimage. Very good things, by the way. Very, very good things because, wow. He was impressive last spring. He was impressive in training camp last year. And he had a heck of a start. Expect to hear a lot of Rodney Bimage conversation on this podcast, but we'll talk about him more in just a minute. You've seen a lot of these guys that have redshirted for the Sun Devils that are beginning to grow into their bodies more. And you can tell that they are working with nutritionists and they're working very hard in the gym and with trainers. They're on the field. They're building up their core and not just like the pure physical strength. Like these guys look like they can play pretty consistently without getting winded. The way that I get winded if I run a quarter of a mile, yeah, they look totally fine. They look in great shape. These guys definitely look like they have taken the offseason incredibly seriously. You also got to remember, this is just 3 months following the conclusion of the season. I know a lot of the redshirt guys have worked longer, but a lot of these players that we just saw look like they are just getting much more disciplined and finding their way right now for the next stage of their college football careers. They look really good. There's a handful of positions I want to talk about. I got receivers, tight ends, defensive backs is what we're going to focus on today. Of course, I got to mention quarterback. How can you not talk about the quarterback position when you are in a practice? Here's what I can tell you. Sam Leavitt looks good. There's some rust that he's got to knock off, but that's pretty much what you would expect of anyone. But he looks just as confident. He looks like he continues to be in really good physical condition. Like he takes care of himself. I don't think there's an inch of fat on him. He's just very, very toned. You can tell he takes care of himself. And that's what you want to see from the face of your program, is someone who takes it very, very seriously, the responsibilities of being the guy for the team. So he looks great. He was throwing some pretty balls. There were some that sailed on him, and there were some that just went right in the dirt. But again, you're talking about 3 months off. He's going to have some rust to get rid of. I'll tell you what, though, he did not look rusty throwing to Jordyn Tyson. Tyson, if you told me he was injured at the end of the season, like I did not watch any football last year, and you told me that he had 1,100 receiving yards, but he was injured at the end of the year, I would have been very curious. One, how'd you put up that many yards despite missing time? Two, why does he look so good? Like I wouldn't have known that he was injured, and certainly not the upper body injury that he sustained against U of A, because he's out there running routes and high pointing footballs, and he's high pointing, man. That was something that he showed some ability during training camp last fall, and it looks like he's just going to continue to build on that and get better and better as that go up and get it guy. And he's got the size. I want to say he's listed 6'3". For college. We'll see what he actually is when he eventually gets to the combine, because everyone's taller in college. Jalen Strong was 6'5". N'Keal Harry was 6'5". Like, it's just funny, but he definitely plays above the rim, and you just put that ball up for him, and that mentality that he has, that alpha dog, that my ball 50-50 mentality, I'm coming down with it. We saw it last year. We are continuing to see it now. And to me, it's really important that we see it right now, because he is returning from injury. And you do want to make sure that the confidence remains there and that he's not second guessing himself and he's not wondering if he needs to have any limitations for himself. He feels and he looks like he's completely dialed in, mid-season form, if you will. I know it's a very overused term. Sam Leavitt and Jordyn Tyson still looks great. The other quarterbacks, TBD. Jeff Sims is fine. He changed his number, so he is now number 2. Number 6 is Kanye Udo, and the original owner of number 2, Kyson Brown, is now number 1. There was a couple other not quarterback changes, jersey number changes, but those were the ones that were most important to me. You know who your new quarterback 2 is. Literally, his jersey number reflects him on the depth chart, and then Udo and Kyson have their new numbers as well. But anyways, Sims was fine. I mean, he is what he is. We know what to expect out of him. He looks confident out there. He looks comfortable out there. It's the first day of spring ball, I understand, but he didn't look like a fish out of water, and he looked like someone that had taken the time to understand the playbook and have conversations with the guys he was throwing to. The youngsters. Now, something that I mentioned recently on the show is the younger players for the Sun Devils on this team have a huge opportunity this year. I already talked about the redshirt guys who could be stepping up, right? We talk about how there's not a lot of transfers and a lot of people are gone. Here's your chance. You've been on this roster for 2 years, for 3 years. Let's see if now's the time. But then you look at quarterback and you're like, I got a lot of questions. I got a lot of question marks at the quarterback spot because Sam Leavitt has 1 year of starting experience. He was phenomenal, though. Like that, he looks like an NFL quarterback. Was talking with Brad Denny a lot because Brad's the best. Great guy to have a conversation with. Brad feels pretty confident that if he has another good season, he'll go pro. And for Sam Leavitt to go pro with 2 years under his belt as a starter should tell you how good he is. And he is good. He is a very, very good quarterback. So you have him leading the charge. And then behind him, you have Jeff Sims, who he is what he is, but that's a lot of collegiate experience under his belt. After that, it's a lot of unknowns. It is a lot of unknowns. The current guys on the roster right now, you have Navi Bruzon, who I have said is the face of Activate the Valley. You've got Michael Tollefson, who's a true freshman who's coming into the team. One of the longest commits that the Sun Devils had for their 2025 class. He had committed like a year and a half before signing day and stuck with the program. And then you've got some other guys that are there to compete and everything. You probably aren't going to see him. Christian Hunt was another guy. That's a lot of uncertainty, man. The 3 guys I just named have never had a snap in a real college football game. Navi Bruzon has not played a snap for the Sun Devils. Michael Tollefson is a true freshman. Christian Hunt has not played a snap as a Sun Devil on an actual game. So God forbid if something happens, if Sam Leavitt is terrible, and I mean like you can't even put him on the field. If Sam Leavitt gets injured, God forbid, if Jeff Sims gets injured or is terrible or whatever, and you have to go to these young guys, it's not that like they're bad, because I do think that Navi has a lot to bring to the table, and I'm not out on Tollefson. I know a lot of people are ready to sell on Butter. Great nickname, Butter Tollefson. I don't know why I like it, but I do. A lot of people are selling on him, though. I'm not ready to sell on him, and I'm not sure where it's coming from that everyone is like totally out on him. Like really weird senior year of high school, sure, but he's a very nice, dedicated young man and clearly is all in on the program. You don't commit to a university for a year and a half without being all in. Ask Bryce Underwood, who was committed and refused to take visits anywhere else with LSU. What? Oh, he's not with LSU. That's right. These things change. And yet Michael Tollefson is all in for the program. So he's in. He's competing. He moved from California to Arizona in the middle of his high school final year of high school, his senior year, to be closer to the program. So yeah, I'm not selling on Michael Tollefson. But back to the point, if Tollefson has to get on the field, if Bruzon has to get on the field, if Christian Hunt has to get on the field, I'm not saying you should be uncomfortable, but I am saying that we would go into the game where, like, I don't know what to expect. Like, it's not quite expect to be disappointed, and you'll never be disappointed, but you do go into it and you're like, expect nothing. Have no expectations, have fun. Turn off your brain, go watch a terrible movie. You want to go watch Kraven the Hunter and have a good time? Turn your brain off. That's what I have to do for movies like that. But it's just a very interesting situation with the quarterbacks because we don't know what's going on. And they have a huge opportunity in front of them because Jeff Sims is gone after this year. By the way, the transfer portal is going to be opening up again. And if there's an opportunity for Jeff Sims to start, he could leave. I mean, it's not guaranteed that Jeff Sims is going to be back to this program next year. Just isn't. We feel good about it. But if he leaves, your backup quarterback to Sam Leavitt has never played a snap of college football. Now, I'm sure they would grab someone in the transfer portal. I'm sure they would. But it's a, I don't want to call it a scary thought, but it's kind of a scary thought of, like, I don't know what to do. I guess we'll find out. I guess we'll see. But they were up and down. Navi threw some good balls. Navi threw some bad balls. Michael threw some good balls. Michael threw some bad balls. Christian threw some good balls. Christian threw some bad balls. We'll wait and see day one of practice. But I'm going to be paying extra attention to the younger quarterbacks. We know what Sam is. We know what Jeff is. We don't know the rest. I'm going to be paying special attention. Let's talk about the other positions. Let's start with wide receiver. Going to be one of those competitions that will dominate the headlines this offseason for the Sun Devils. Not just for spring ball. We're going to have tons of conversations because Melcon Stovall's gone. Xavier Guillory's gone. Both of them at practice, by the way. Shout out to you guys for still being associated with the program and everything. It was good to catch up with you guys. Jake Smith is gone. Troy O'Mary is gone. It's a brand new room. And they bring in 3 transfers, and you've got some freshmen that are coming in. It's wide open right now. Now, what we did see, Jordyn Tyson was obviously the starting number 1 receiver. The number 2 receiver, unsurprisingly, was Malik McClain. And the starting slot receiver, also unsurprisingly, was Jalen Moss. So if you asked me to predict a starting 11, that would have been my prediction, and it came to pass. So they had pretty solid days, I would say. We know that Tyson was good. Malik, I felt like he had a much better day than he had a bad day. He had bad reps, but for the most part, I thought that he looked ready to compete with everyone else and find ways to stand out. Jalen Moss, I'm just a big fan, and I thought he had a good day. I thought it was kind of a quiet day. I didn't see anything that was like jaw-dropping from Jalen, but, you know, sometimes that's not a bad thing. Sometimes it's better to not be talked about from a day of practice. So I thought he had a good day. Noble Johnson, I would say there's stuff to work on after first day of practice. There were some double catches. There was some drops. But, I mean, on the field, he looks the part. Let's see. I thought it was a okay practice. There's stuff to work on. Jaron Hamilton, I don't know if he was able to do anything. Some of the balls that were thrown his way weren't the best. There was some coverage that he was dealing with. He definitely was held on one of the plays. So he's getting frustrated in every oh my goodness, let's try again. He's getting frustrated in everything. It happens. He seems competitive. He seems fiery, but I don't remember anything that Jaron did during practice. It's day one. Corey Butler and Zachariah Sample were solid. They looked like they were going to be able to find ways to compete with some of the veterans that are ahead of them. But this wide receiver battle is going to be really interesting. We know who number 1 is. It's undisputable. It's unquestionable. Jordyn Tyson. And he looks elite. We need to go into next year as a nation, not as a Sun Devil fan, understanding that Jordyn Tyson is one of the best receivers in the nation. And if no one realizes that now, they're going to realize it later. Now, next to him, we'll wait and see. Day one of practice, I would tell you it's wide open. I would tell you we went into this spring assuming it was going to be a wide open competition, and I would tell you that's exactly what it is. Guys, we're up and down. If you ask me to give you a winner, like the biggest winner that wasn't Jordyn Tyson from the receiver position, I don't know if I could give you one because everyone was really up and down, or they just didn't really do anything to stand out. So I love that. I think that's a very good thing, especially for day one. But we'll see. Let's go ahead and move on to tight end. Holy cow, those are some big dudes. Those are some big dudes. AJ Ia, I'm pretty sure that the legs that he has is what my arms are. Like, he's carrying, that's a big dude. That is a big dude. Or I got it backwards? I don't know. Point is, holy cow, he looks like he could bench press a train. He looks ready to go. Also, one of his legs has a sleeve for the tribal tattoos and everything because he's got the Samoan roots. Phenomenal. I've never seen a bad tribal tattoo, and his was great. He also had his initials in there that were just part of the design and everything. Looked awesome. But dude, he looks like he's been in college for 4 years. Like, I don't know how you build onto the frame that he has. I don't know what he's listed at, but if you told me he was 6'5", 250, I'd believe you. He looked it. I'm not the biggest guy in the world, but I certainly felt like the smallest man on the field when I was 10 feet away from AJ Ia. That's a big dude. Speaking of guys, Jaden Fortier, not Fortier. Yeah, whole time we've been doing this podcast, been saying his last name wrong. Jaden Fortier was back out there, full pads after missing last year, nursing an injury. He looks good, and he looks like a receiver. That was one of the things that I actually really liked about Jaden Fortier when he was coming out of high school was he plays the tight end position, but he looks like a very natural receiver. And that's what I felt we were seeing when he was out there. He looked very natural, very comfortable. Hopefully that continues to be the case because we missed him last year due to injury. So if he does have that confidence to continue building on everything, then I love it and I'm here for it. Khamari Anderson, the transfer from Kentucky, he's going to be a problem. He is going to be a problem because he had some big plays. There were some bad reps for sure. There was a double catch, but last I checked, that's a catch. I only wish that it would count as 2 receptions for my fantasy football league when guys would double catch the ball. He's a big dude, and he moves really, really well for being as big as he is. Now, he doesn't have a ton of numbers to his name in his box score in his resume when he was at Kentucky. But moving here to Arizona State, he looks like he's going to play and work his way onto the field. One of my complaints from last season is we didn't get enough tight end production. And to be fair, tight end was not nearly as deep last year as it was this year because of some injuries. But, I mean, outside of Shimon Mateer, we got a catch from Marqueston Douglas, a little bit of action from guys elsewhere. There was not much. That's not going to be the case this year. And Khamari Anderson is going to be one of the biggest competitors that we see. When he announced his transfer to ASU, I wasn't sure how I felt about it. Maybe lukewarm could be a fair way to describe it. Because I looked at the position and I'm like, we got a lot of guys. Like, not only is AJ Ia coming in, but Jaden Fortier is coming back, and Shimon Mateer is coming back, and Cameron Harpole is still on this team. And James Giggy is working out with the team. And, of course, there's one more guy. I can't remember his name. Like, the tight end position has the depth. I don't know why he would want to come here. Well, first of all, you get to work with Jason Mons, phenomenal tight end coach who is recruiting better than anyone I can think of for Arizona State in the last several years. He's putting in work. 4-star tight ends every year. I'm pretty sure that there are more 4 stars that are in his future that could be visiting very, very soon and fall in love with everything that Jason Mons is putting out there. But yeah, Anderson looked like he immediately embraced everything that Mons was putting out there, and he looked like a receiver. So he looked very natural. Someone that isn't going to be that massive body that maybe he's a little sneaky kind of thing. Like when Marqueston Douglas transferred to ASU last year, big dude. One of the things I thought, though, was he looked more like an offensive lineman than a receiver. Now, that didn't take away from the fact that some of the highlights you saw of him, he was way faster than you thought for a tight end who was like 280. But, I mean, we didn't see him last year. And I think a part of that was he just wasn't able to separate himself as a receiver compared to the other guys. That's not going to be a problem this year because Jaden Fortier looks great and AJ Ia should be expected to have a bigger role. But now you've got Khamari Anderson who looks the part. He looked really good. Looked really, really good. I want to flip to the defensive side of the ball now. Don't worry. I will be getting to the comments. John Williams and Low Tone Capone, I see you guys in there. Thanks as always for tuning in. I know I see you guys all the time. Some of my best supporters. I appreciate my everydayers as well. Anyone else that's in here right now, thank you for tuning in. I will be getting into comments. I just want to get all of the information that I can provide for you guys out of the way. That's the whole point of this. There's no paywall. You don't have to pay for Locked On Sun Devils, and I'm going to let you know all the big takeaways that you need for the practices. I want to talk about the defense because the defense looked good. As much as I want to watch the defense entirely, I want to watch the linebackers, the defensive line, and everything. I could not take my eyes off the DBs today. And I don't blame myself. I don't, because they were lights out. Everyone. I feel like every defensive back that I saw on the field had a standout play. It was so fun to watch. Another jersey update, by the way. Montana Warren moved from number 9 to number 7. So he is taking Shamari Simmons' number this year. And funny enough, he could fill the Shamari Simmons role, something that I previously talked about on the show. Very, very interesting what's going on in that secondary. There's roles to be replaced. If you're looking at a starting lineup, right, and you only have 4 starting DBs, you know who they are, and it's not debatable. It's Keith Abney and Javen Robinson at corner. It's Xavion Alford and Miles Rouser at safety. There's no debating that. But then if you look beyond that, it's like, whoo, what are we going to do? Who is your starting nickel? Kendrick Breedlove looked great today. He's got a really good start for separating himself. Who's got the LT Welsh role as like that third corner? That feels wide open. But Rodney Bimage, man. Give me just a second, and I have to gush about Rodney Bimage, but I want to talk about the rest of the guys too. There was just a lot of good standouts, man. I don't think I saw a bad play from any DB in this game. And quite frankly, some of the biggest standout plays were made by defenders. You had, to me, the most memorable play came on one-on-ones, and they were just doing some streaks. So they're right on the boundary of the line, of the out of bounds, and it's just straight down the field. Ball's going to go up. It's not a fade, but it's a fade kind of thing. So your receiver is going to have to go up and get it, and you're going to see what the defensive back can do to match, and they matched really well. Chris Johnson, hell of a play. I don't remember the receiver he went up against, but this ball is up. It's not a bad thrown ball. It's not a bad thrown ball at all. And the receiver is able to get up, and he does make a play on it. The problem is Chris Johnson made a better play. And by the end of the rep, ball was in his chest, clear interception, and he gets the foot drag in the end zone. He gets those feet down. It was an NFL interception, and you're like, that's some serious body control. He was all over it. We didn't get to see him last year. He redshirted. I think he may have been a little banged up, but He was one of the guys I was excited about. And what a rep today from Chris Johnson. Or not Chris Johnson. Not Chris Johnson. Was it Lewis and Kuba? It might have been Tony. Either way, I don't care. Chris is still a stud. I think I just screwed that whole thing up. I'm pretty sure it was Tony, Lewis, and Kuba. But whoever it was, great rep. It was not Chris Johnson. I know that for sure now that it clicks in my head. Chris, I'm sorry. I'll still hype you up, man. Just put a few plays out there for me and I will hype you up. Very positive it was Tony, Lewis, and Kuba, who also had a really great spring game, or not spring game, spring practice session a year ago. You know who was really good a year ago? You know who was really good in the training camp in the fall? Rodney Bimage. You know who was really good today? Rodney Bimage. Richie, who's the biggest winner of day one? Rodney Bimage. Rodney Bimage was the biggest winner from day one. You weren't stopping him. You could not throw on the man. And he looked good last year. He was someone, if you go back to podcasts from a year ago, talking about spring ball, I talked about Rodney Bimage a lot. I talked about him and Tony, Lewis, and Kuba a lot. I said, for true freshmen, those guys look pretty darn good. We didn't get to see them on the field much, unfortunately. That's not going to be the case this year. And again, one of the things I just mentioned is you have some roles that are open, not so much starting spots. If you only have 4 starters in the secondary, you've got it figured out. It's undebatable. It's unquestionable. It's undeniable. There's no other way to go about it. But for the roles of who's the nickel corner, the slot corner, who's your third safety, who's the third boundary corner, who are the guys who will be primarily subbed in, Rodney Bimage is ready to take on one of those roles. And he would be my pick to be that third corner right now. What LT Welsh did for the team last year, coming off of the bench, rotating in with guys and being a part of nickel and dime packages and that extra DB and everything. And he ends up hauling in a few interceptions. House is one of them. Like, that is a big role that ASU has to find a way to fill. And I think that Rodney Bimage has advertised himself maybe as the favorite for it. Nyland Green transfers into ASU, former 5-star. He was at Georgia. He was at Purdue most recently. He's been solid. He was solid today. He did not look as good as Rodney Bimage, and that's the role that he's competing for. Javen Robinson, Keith Abney are the starters. They are not getting usurped anytime soon. But that third corner role is wide open. Nyland felt like the easy pick there, right? He's a big name. He's former highly recruited. He was a starter last season and the year before that with another Power 4 program. Feels easy, right? Well, apparently not. Because this redshirt freshman who has yet to play a down in college football looked 100 times better. And again, Nyland was solid today. It's not like Nyland was terrible. It's not like, oh my God, Nyland, one of the biggest losers of the day. He played good. All the DBs did. Rodney Bimage just played better. And he played better than just about anyone out there. Rodney Bimage, man. What a day. What a day for him. I also want to shout out Kendrick Breedlove, who feels another guy that it feels like it's kind of easy to pin him in as your starting nickel. Yeah, it looks like it's pretty easy to pin him in as your starting nickel. He had a very good day. He was silky smooth. He was able to match with guys well. He made plays on the ball. I think he had an interception, but he made plays. It looked very routine for Kendrick Breedlove while he was on the field. And that's all you can ask for a guy who has a lot of starts in his career. He was a starter with Purdue a lot. Him and Nyland both played together. So not a coincidence they came over here together, but they both looked good. Rodney Bimage, huge winner for me today. Rounding out real quick, and then I'm going to hop into comments. Xavion Alford, do not throw at him. He had a great season last year. It looks like he's right where he was. I think he's going to be better. And one of the things I'm waiting for are some ball hawking skills. And he still had 2 picks last year. He was flying around the ball. Miles Rouser also flying around the ball, led the team in tackles, somehow didn't have an interception last year. He had one on the first day of camp. I I do not think that his 0 turnovers was ever going to be sustainable. And I doubt that that's going to be the case once again in 2025. He was all over the place. So the 2 safeties looked good. I'm really interested with Montana Warren. He's someone that we've talked about on the show pretty much since its inception, pretty much since he committed to the program. We've talked about Montana Warren. He will be one of the guys that has a lot of my focus because I am ready for him to break out. And after that first drive against Texas where he got worked, he played very well for the remainder of the first half in relief for Khamari Simmons. It's there. Everything is there for him to continue to grow and become a better and better and better football player. I will be paying attention to him quite a bit moving forward. I would like to shift my attention for Thursday's practice to some of the trenches. I want to watch the offensive line more. I want to see what the defensive line rotation is, and I want to watch the linebackers. I'm not going to lie to you. I did not watch the linebackers at all today. I could not stop watching the DBs. They were so beyond impressive. All of them. The starters, the third stringers, the true freshmen, the graduates. They looked great. It was so difficult to not follow them around. It was so difficult to see the team tempo and see the 7-on-7s and see the 11-on-11s and look anywhere else. They were the standouts, man. That was the most fun that I got to experience on day one. Let's go ahead and hop into comments now because I know that there's a lot of you guys in here. First of all, thank you guys for tuning in. Drop a comment because we're going to have a conversation. If you have questions about today's practice, let me know. I will give you my answers. I will give you my observations. That's the whole point of these lives. I'll tell you what I saw for free. There's no paywall for Locked On Sun Devils. I'll let you know, and it's live. It's interactive. Ask me a question. We'll answer it. Let's go ahead and take a look at comments. I got to catch up because some of these are from the beginning. John Williams was taking a look at some of the height and weight for the guys that we talked about at the top of the show. Terrell Kim, someone that Kenny Dillingham said dropped a lot of weight. I think he said 40 pounds. I may have heard him wrong, but Terrell Kim was listed around 350 last year. So if he did drop 40 pounds and he's still at 310, which is more than heavy enough. Ramar Williams was listed at 270 last year. I would have lost that bet. I thought he was closer to 230 or 240. If you told me he was 270 on the field right now, I would have believed you. If you're telling me he's bigger than 270, I still would have been like, he looks it. Like I said, that dude's biceps are as big as my head, man. It was crazy. All right. Okay, John, if you were to predict a win-loss record this season, what would you say? I have very early on 10-2, and I feel very confident about 10-2. Lotone Capone had to drop the fire. Good to see you. As always, my friend. John says the team's going to be fire. I try to be here every day, not always available. I'm looking forward to going to Boulder. Dude, I appreciate you, John, one of my everydayers. Gabriel Yardley is in here. Gabriel, what's going on? I hope that I pronounced your last name right. Bruh, you said one of the wideouts was being held. Someone had a bad day at DB. It's one rep. Like, you're not going to win every rep. I only remember 1 or 2 bad plays. Like, I don't know what to tell you. You guys have bad reps. Jordyn Tyson was perfect as far as I could tell. I'm sure there was a rep where he didn't finish a play or pull down a pass. Like, guys have bad reps. So, yeah, someone did commit a hold, right? It's not like they were being held all practice. So if it came across that way, that's on me. But the DBs dominated today, except a handful. West Bezzy, what's going on? That pick he had was on Sample. Okay, got it. Yes. That was disgusting, man. The Tony Lewis and Cuba coverage that he had on Rashad Sample. Dude, Sample had a play on the ball, too. Like, it wasn't like he was completely unable to get to this thing. He had his hands on it. He was able to go up and get it. He just got out-physicaled by the defensive back. Like, great play from Tony Lewis and Cuba. Drop a comment, guys. I am here to answer your questions without providing a paywall to let you know what is going on in spring ball. One thing I didn't address this, and I want to mention it because I loved the response. There was one song on repeat throughout the practice. 80% of the practice as music is going, it was one particular song. They shuffled it a few times. There was a handful of Queen songs. They had They Not Like Us on there, or I think it's just Not Like Us. So that was great. Uncensored too. So I'm sitting there walking around and I'm like, I hope he says it. And then he says it and I'm like, yeah, that's a good vibe right now. I'm walking around nodding my head to Kendrick. And there was one song over and over and over again, and they looped it perfectly. So it wasn't like the song ended and he knew it was going to restart. That song, We Are the Champions by Queen. You've heard that song. I know you have. You heard that song before you were born. You just come into the world knowing we are the champions. And it was playing all day. At least 80% of the practice that we had out there, we had We Are the Champions going. So it was interesting. At some point, you're kind of like, come on, Kenny, can we put something else on? Like, I know you got stuff. I know you got bangers on there. I know you got today's rap. I know you got 90s stuff. I know you got hard rock. There's some modern country in there. Like, give me some, give me Taylor Swift. Give me Katy Perry. I don't care. Give me variety. I don't think I'm going to be able to go to bed tonight without thinking of We Are the Champions at this point in time. I'm going to have to find something else to blast for myself. Although I have been listening to the song Sleepwalker by, what is it? We are Wild, The Wild, something like that. Yeah. If you like heavy metal, you'll like that song a lot. Neither here nor there. They were playing that song throughout practice. So naturally, as you would assume, when we get to talk to Kenny Dillingham at the end of practice and the scrum and everything, he was asked, hey, what was there specific logic to playing We Are the Champions over and over again? And Kenny said, yeah, there was a little bit of logic there. We want these guys to hear that kind of energy, and we want them to eventually get sick of it. One of the goals that they said they had, and when we talked to Sam Leavitt shortly after that, he said the same thing. Last year doesn't matter. 2024 does not matter. We're moving on. We are moving on to the 2025 season. That's a very interesting thought process, because you're coming off of one of the best seasons in program history, certainly one of the best seasons in the last 25 years since the turn of the century. You're coming off of a conference win, your first conference title game win, because they've won a conference before. They've never won an actual championship game. They won that. They go to the college football playoff, and they make some noise in the college football playoff, despite a loss. There is a lot of great things to build off of. And they're saying, yeah, it doesn't matter. We're moving on. And you kind of get taken back by, you're like, really? That quick? We're just already? We're done? We're dusted? 2024 doesn't matter? And they're like, yeah, we're moving on. No one else cares. No one else cares. No other team in the country cares. Why should we? Let's move on. Let's focus. Let's get dialed in for 2025. And you sit there and you're like, okay, I can get behind that. Like, don't be soaked up in your own success, right? Don't sit there, go into the year as like, oh yeah, we're the champs. Everyone else is got to bow down to us. Like, leave that to me. Leave that to Richie Bradshaw of Locked On Sun Devils to talk down to everyone else and be like, okay, I see you all the way down there in the rankings, in the standings. Let me know when you can jump and swing up and hit me in the knee. Like, I guess I'll do that, because Kenny Dillingham Sun Devils are not going to do that. They are already on to the next year. So you hear that We Are the Champion song playing in the background, and Sam Leavitt said, like, yeah, it was pretty annoying. Like, he was point blank about it. He wasn't mincing words. He wasn't giving a political answer of like, oh, blah, blah, blah. He was like, no, I did not like it. I got annoyed. I want to move on. I don't want to hear that over and over again. I want to be ready for the next step. And, you know, Sam's telling us, like, when the season ended and I've got 3 months where I'm not on the field throwing a football with competition and a full team activity, like I feel weird. I don't know what to do with myself. Like, what's his name? Ricky Bobby in Talladega Nights. I don't know what to do with my hands. Like, that's Sam. Sam's like, I didn't know what to do. So I sit there and I watch film and I try to get better and I make connections and blah, blah, blah. So they've been ready to get back out there, and they clearly are not focused on any successes from last year, any failures from last year. They're just ready for a new season. And it's refreshing and it's exciting, but it really took me off guard. Like, I would imagine if you had asked me, if you had asked Richie Bradshaw, hey, what do you think? And I'd be like, it feels good to be the reigning champs, but we got to run it back and we've got to prove ourselves. It wasn't that. It was, yeah, that's cool. We're moved on. It doesn't matter. If you had asked them, like how are you feeling? They'd probably look at you and be like, we feel disrespected. We feel like the worst team in the conference and that we have a lot to prove. Like, and then you'd sit there and you're like, but you weren't picked 16th. And they'd be like, it doesn't matter. We've got a lot that we want to improve on. There's a lot we want to get better at. And that's nice. It's nice to see that they're not going to be lost in their own success and they're not going to be focused on outside noise and just be worried about taking it day to day, one practice at a time, one film session at a time, one rep at a time, one game at a time, 1 week at a time. It's fun to see. It's really fun to see. So them hearing we are the champions. And as you would imagine, they picked that song for a reason. They won the Big 12. They are the champions. We are the champions of the Big 12. And they're like, I don't want to hear this. I already celebrated being the Big 12 champion. Why would I celebrate now? It's spring. It's March. We won the conference back in December. Why do I give a crap about the Big 12? And I know that Sam was not the only one who felt that way. I bet if you talk to just about any other player out there, and especially the guys who were on the team last year and returned to the program, yeah, I imagine it'd be like, it was pretty annoying. It was pretty annoying. I want to hear something else. I want hard rock thrown on there. I want music from the 90s on there. Like I said, I'll settle for Taylor. I'll settle for Katie. Like, just put something else on for the love of all that. Put the Duck song on. That feels better than listening to We Are the Champions for 2.5 hours. It was crazy. But you love it. You love that mentality. I don't want to know that I'm the champion. I don't want to know that we did X, Y, and Z. I'm focused on this. So that's 8 minutes that I just put into that whole spiel. Reader's Digest version, you're not going to get in their head of you guys are the champions and everyone has to look up to you. They're not worried about it. They're not worried about getting the respect. I know I said that, like, it feels like they would be working off the disrespect. I don't know if that's entirely there. Like, you do work off the disrespect because that's what motivates you. But I don't think it's what it was last year, where ASU was picked to finish 16th. It's going to be very different. They're going to be picked to finish top 3 at worst in the Big 12. They're like, whatever. Yeah, we won a conference. That's cool. What have we done this year? Tell me what we've done this year. Nothing. We have one practice under our belt. We're not champions. It's refreshing. It's really fun. And like I said, they can leave it to me. I'll be the smack talker for them. Everyone who tunes into Locked On Sun Devils will be the smack talkers for them. Everyone that's in forums and on Twitter and Instagram and Reddit streams and whatever have you, the students, the alumni, the fans, former players, Matthew Berry, let them talk about it. Let them gas this team up because these players are more focused on what's ahead of them. And that speaks a lot to Kenny Dillingham and how he has been able to get this program to build a culture that is focused on today and not focused on tomorrow and not focused on anything outside noise that is going to distract this team. We're focused on now. It's special what's going on in the desert right now. You want to ask me, Richie, are we running it back? I go, you're damn right we're running it back. The show goes on. I want you to let the world that we are back up. Whatever you think fits, it fits. Sun Devils are back. It's good to be on the field. It was a nice 80-something degree morning. If you stood still, it felt hot. If you were walking around, it felt good. Now's the time for these players to enjoy the practices because it's going to get hot. People are going to get sick. People are going to get pissed. There's going to be fights. There's going to be cuss words thrown around. These guys are going to start competing. But what I loved about seeing today's practice was they were dialed in. They were focused. They knew what they wanted to do. They knew what they had to do. And they did it. We'll see how Thursday looks. And I'll be sure to keep you posted on what happens on Thursday. So if you are in here right now, thank you for tuning in to the Locked On Sun Devils live edition. And I will keep you up to date with everything. Real quick, John Williams, what's the kicker situation like? It is going to be Jesus Gomez until further notice. Karsten Kiefer could be a competitor with him, and he is someone that I brought up previously, but the leg is limited. Jesus can hit the deep one. Ian Hershey's still going to be competing at kicker as well. We didn't have any specific kicking drills today. Every once in a while, they will set a segment of practice aside just for field goal kicking and little competitions and stuff like that. We did not have any field goal kicking competition today for those specific guys. I'll be keeping an eye out for you because obviously that's one of the biggest stories, and I'll continue talking to people around practice and get their thoughts and opinions as well. But the whole idea behind this live edition, I'm going to tell you the big news. I'm going to tell you who stood out. I'm going to tell you who might have had a bad day. Is there any movement that's going on? Who was starting with the ones? What did team tempo look like? I'll let you know, and I'll do it for free because there is no paywall with Locked On Sun Devils. We're free and available on all platforms, visual and audio. The lives are always on YouTube, so make sure you hit subscribe on YouTube and turn on notifications when we do go live. And then, if you miss a live, that's okay because they're archived and you can listen to them later. You can turn this on tomorrow morning on your drive to work when you're stuck in traffic on the I-10. And you can listen to me catching you up on everything that happened in spring ball for free. I appreciate each and every single one of you guys for tuning in. Thank you to everyone that left a comment. Thank you to everyone that stopped by. There was a lot of you that jumped in, a lot of you who stayed from start to finish, people who were checking out the show, all of you. Thank you so much. And I hope to see you guys again on Thursday for our next live as I give you another update from practice. Real quick, Saturday practices are going to vary. Some days I'll be able to make it. Some days I won't because they may have a practice Saturday night and they may have a practice Saturday morning. It will depend on my work availability, and I will make sure that if I'm there, I'll keep you posted. I'll let you know what's going on. Thank you guys, as always, for tuning in to Locked On Sun Devils, making us your first listen of the day. And shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. I will see you guys tomorrow morning. We were supposed to have a show this morning talking about position battles. We will be doing that tomorrow morning. And of course, I'll have a little extra insight. So I'll see you guys then. Till then, you keep it locked right here on